Good evening. How are you this evening? I'm Lisa Harrier. I am the admin and music director for Lebanon Presbyterian Church. And Scott Farringer's here that helped us get the bell ringers in here. We're so excited. How many of you have heard the bell ringers before in different locations? Great. So they have a following. I have not heard them yet, so I'm excited. So they have it beautifully decorated here at the church. They're called the premier handbell ringers, Pittsburgh's premier handbell ringers. So I'm excited to hear them, and let's give a warm welcome to them. Three Rivers Ringers.
The rhythm of life, like an endless melody, goes on regardless of where we might be, throughout day and night, never stopping nor obvious to sight. The rhythm of life has an existence and power of its own, and all that does ever happen by it unmistakably known. Good evening and welcome to the spring portion of Three Rivers Ringers' 14th concert season. Art imitates life, life imitates art. The visual arts, writing, dance, music, all arts imitate and are imitated by the rhythms of life. The varied repertoire in this program, like any other, was created through the life rhythms of its composers. What stage of life or life rhythm was a composer in when they wrote a particular piece? And what were they hoping to convey? And for performers and listeners, how do our life rhythms shape the way we interpret the music, and how does it make us feel? The first portion of our program is dedicated to 4 composers of handbell literature who have recently passed away: Louise Fryer, Arnold Sherman, Timothy Waugh, and Valerie Stevenson. Louise Fryer laid the foundation for the use of bell trees demonstrated in our opening number, Ostinato Fantasia. She wrote many compositions for and with bell trees and authored a teaching resource on the technique as well. Of the many compositions given to us by Arnold Sherman, Canticle is a classic and an enduring favorite. We can only imagine what his inspiration was for this driving and exciting piece, or what his rhythm of life was at the time, but there was surely an abundance of joy in it. Arnold Sherman's Canticle.
Our next piece is simply called Fancy, keeping in mind it's so fancy it had to end in E at the end. This piece was commissioned for the youth bells of the First United Methodist Church of Akron, Ohio. The young bell ringers were going to a festival in Estes Park, Colorado, and were to debut the new piece there. Tim Waugh, one of the great internationally acclaimed handbell teachers, conductors, composers, and arrangers in the world, wrote this piece in 1966. However, at the time he was having some serious health issues. According to Richard Pinkerton, who directed the choir, they received the music 1 or 2 pages at a time instead of all at one time. They received the last page or two just 2 days before they were to play it at the festival. Tim Waugh's work as a guest conductor and clinician for choral and handbell festivals followed a 33-year career in public school music education. He proudly called his choir and handbell students my kids, and they remained his kids for the rest of his life. We lost him sadly about a year ago. His loss is still being felt by the handbell world. Fancy is a lively piece, peppered with a mixture of bell sounds, finally settles into a calmer section, and that only lasts for so long it becomes much more lively once again. We hope you enjoy Fancy, but remember, that can only be said with your pinky up.
In 1979, Valerie Stevenson's introduction to handbells came when she discovered a set of bells in a school storage closet. She soon became a trendsetter in the world of handbells in education. Her school, Trinity Episcopal, received one of the first exemplary handbell program in education awards. No one seems to know how many handbell pieces she composed or arranged. Various accounts of her life mention 250. She said it was more than 400. Perhaps there were hundreds left unpublished in her mind. The songs she published have been played by thousands of musicians all over the world. She was equally capable of writing reflective, introspective songs or upbeat, festive ones, and she was celebrated for her fearlessness in incorporating new and innovative techniques, and cursed by some for crafting fiendishly difficult pieces. In 2014, Handbell Musicians of America recognized her with an honorary lifetime membership. For years, she took a leadership role in the handbell community and directed many clinics and workshops for audiences both large and small. She was also a dear friend of our artistic director emerita, Nancy Lutz. Today, we remember her contributions to the handbell world by playing Eternal Father, Strong to Save. This hymn is based on Psalm 107, beginning with, "They that go down to the sea in ships, that do business in great waters, these see the works of the Lord and his wonders in the deep." There have been many modifications and additions to this hymn, known as the Hymn for the Royal Navy, as well as the United States Navy and the U.S. Marine Corps. Branches of military service have added their own stanzas. In 1961, a stanza by J.E. Volanti was written for astronauts. "Eternal Father, King of birth, who didst create the heaven and earth, and bid the planets and the sun their own appointed orbits run. O hear us when we seek thy grace for those who soar through outer space." This iconic hymn has appeared in state ceremonies. Presidents Franklin Roosevelt, John F. Kennedy, Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, Gerald Ford, and Jimmy Carter have had this hymn sung at their funerals. It was performed during a 2002 memorial ceremony in Norfolk, Virginia, for those who had lost their lives in the bombing of the USS Cole in Yemen. Today, this piece will feature the Whitechapel Bells, which got their origins in England, where the song was written. Quoting her favorite movie line, Valerie Stevenson, there you have it.
I have been given the task of talking about a piece we all love, but about which there is very little fun information to relate to you. So, unfortunately for you, I will try some education instead. Maybe a quiz at the end, we'll see. First, this piece fits very well in our theme of rhythm. You will hear as we play that it is fast and very rhythmic. Once it begins, we just all have to keep up. The piece was composed by Sally Lloyd. It was commissioned by 2 Presbyterian churches for their bell choirs, and it won a composition award in 1980. I learned as we polished our bells on Tuesday night, no fingerprints allowed, that this piece has many elements of a fugue. Okay, you may ask, what is a fugue? Or maybe you won't ask that, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Bach wrote a lot of them, but the definition is that a fugue is a piece of music where multiple melodies are interwoven, all based on a single main idea. This was most popular during the Baroque period, 1600 to 1750. You will hear this as the melody starts in the upper bells and then is repeated several times by different sections of the bell choir. It is very fast, which gets harder as the bells get bigger. So our next educational point revolves around the title of the piece, Reverberations. What, you may ask, is the definition of a reverberation? Back to Google. In acoustics, reverberation, commonly shortened to reverb, is a persistence of sound after it is produced. It is often created when a sound is reflected on surfaces, causing multiple reflections that build up and then decay as the sound is absorbed by the surfaces of the objects in the space, which could include furniture, people, and air. This is most noticeable when the sound source stops, but the reverberations continue. The composer Sally Lloyd seems to have named this piece Reverberations because the repeating themes often seem like a reverberation or an echo. This piece of music will echo differently depending on the spaces that we play. Some spaces are more acoustically live than others, which affects the reverberation. So I won't quiz you, but hopefully I was able to at least entertain you with my facts while we set up to play. So we present Reverberations. I'm back. Thank you. This one isn't quite as much fun. Our next selection is a lively and uplifting piece called The Rhythm of Life, composed by Lloyd Larson. This exciting piece captures the heartbeat of joy and motion, weaving together energetic rhythms and expressive melodies that show you the dynamic range of handbell music. One of the driving forces behind this piece is a rhythmic ostinato, education again, a repeated pattern that's played by the battery bells or our bells in the middle range. This steady pulsing pattern creates the foundation of the piece, giving it energy and momentum while allowing the upper bells to dance along above. In the B section, you'll hear the warm, resonant tones of our bass chimes supporting the foundation of the piece. They add richness and depth to the bass line, grounding the music and enhancing the overall texture. What makes Rhythm of Life especially engaging is how it mirrors the ebb and flow of life itself. The rhythms are both repetitive and at times unexpectedly syncopated or shifting, just like the patterns we experience in our own lives. There is comfort in the familiar, but also surprise and excitement in the unexpected turns. Larson's composition invites both performers and listeners on this rhythmic journey, reflecting the pulse and passion that music brings to our everyday experiences. From driving energy to lyrical beauty, the Rhythm of Life reminds us that music is not something we hear, but something we feel. We hope you enjoy this spirited celebration of life, rhythm, and the unique voice of handbells.
Good evening. My name is Bjorn Dakin. Our next piece, A Bach Pastoral, is Barbara Kinyon's 1991 arrangement of a piece composed in the early 1700s by Johann Pachelbel. Wait, wrong Johann. I meant Johann Sebastian Bach. On a more serious note, we've already mentioned that this concert series, The Rhythm of Life, is a way to honor and remember some of the handbell community's contemporary composers that we have lost recently. Each person's rhythm of life has an end in this world. Bach died in 1750. Barbara Kinyon died in 2021. But music lives on. It transcends death and helps us connect with past moments in our lives, whether they be moments of joy, sorrow, despair, or triumph. When someone is gone and music connects us with the moment we had with them, in a way, music has connected them with the future, even though they are gone. This piece is included in this concert series to honor Liz Robinson, who died last December. She was the mother of Three Rivers member Carolyn Galassa. Music was an essential part of Liz's life, and among other things, she led the Wilson Ringers at the Wilson Christian Academy here in West Mifflin. When the Wilson Ringers started, they only had a set of hand chimes, and this was one of the pieces they played. With Liz's efforts, they were eventually able to purchase a set of handbells. At that moment of triumph and celebration, the first piece the Wilson Ringers performed on their new handbells was A Bach Pastoral. We play it for you now in Liz Robinson's memory.
So our next piece is entitled Malele, and it is an original composition by one of our favorite handbell composers, Jason Krug. And in the past, we've played a piece that we had commissioned specifically for Three Rivers by him. This is one of his newer pieces that's out. Now, Jason Krug is very much alive and well today, so that's not why this is included on our concert. So why is it on our concert? How does it fit with our theme? So the title Malele actually translates in Swahili to forever. Now, that kind of ties into our thoughts of the past and the present and how that goes. And I didn't have a whole lot else to say about this piece until my daughter, a couple weeks ago, was like, "Hey, Mom, let's watch a movie." And of course, you say yes. And so she browsed the Disney Channel. Now, she's 14, so I was thinking she was going to pick a Marvel movie or something. And she said, "No, let's watch The Lion King Mufasa," which is a like CGI kind of style prequel to The Lion King that you probably all know and love from 1992. So, I mean, the movie wasn't spectacular, but it was cute. And so, we're kind of watching, and all of a sudden, I hear the word Malele. And I'm like, what? Wait, that's the bell piece we're playing. And so in this movie, they use Malele. The Malele is their name for this promised land that the lions are trying to voyage to complete their little storyline in there. But I thought it was interesting, and they actually have the main epic song from this Disney movie, because you got to have one of those, is actually also entitled Malele, and it has lyrics and such from Lin-Manuel Miranda. So it was a pretty cool song. But so there are actually two songs out there in this world entitled Malele. One by Lin-Manuel Miranda and one by Jason Krug that we're going to play right now.
Thank you. Cindy, her education isn't over. She has to educate me as to how to use the microphone. So our next piece is Dorian Dance. This is by Michael Joy, and it is a lively and rhythmically engaging handbell piece that captures attention with its dance-like energy and modal charm. It's written in the Dorian mode. More education on its way. This is a scale similar to the natural minor, but with a raised sixth. Okay, so it offers a tonal palette that gives sort of a mysterious and unexpectedly bright feel to it. This choice gives the piece a unique flavor. It's often associated with early folk music and brought to life here in a contemporary and rather playful setting. Rhythm plays a central role in Dorian Dance with frequent shifts in meter between 3/4, 6/8, 8/8, 4/4, and 2/4. These mixed meters create a constantly evolving rhythmic landscape, adding to the sense of motion and excitement. The syncopation and meter changes challenge the ensemble's sense of timing and coordination. Altogether, Dorian Dance showcases Michael Joy's skillful writing for handbells, blending modality, rhythm, and technique into a piece that is as rewarding to play as it is to hear.
Good evening. My name is Linda Minotti, and I am president of the board of directors of Three Rivers Ringers. and certainly want to welcome you this evening. We're so glad to be here for our very first time at Lebanon Presbyterian. And I saw there was a few people that had never heard us before. I hope you're enjoying the concert thus far. And thank you so much for coming and spending a little bit of your time with us this evening. A few other thanks that I have to make this evening. Lisa and Scott for hosting us, appreciate that. Mount Lebanon United Methodist Church, our pastor is here this evening, appreciate his support. Without their support of us, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. A lot of this equipment belongs to Mount Lebanon, so thanks to them. Also like to thank our sponsors, that's Blue Sky Closing, LDM Embroidery, English Dakin Law, and Rollier's Hardware. We appreciate their support as well. You might have noticed in your program, there's an envelope, and there's also a form. If you fill out a form, and at the table, well, it's not a table, you're kind of back by the door. If you drop that off, we'll keep you updated with future events, future concerts. We don't sell your name to anybody. Don't worry about that. We don't do that kind of stuff. But also, if you've enjoyed the concert this evening, you might consider giving us a donation. It's a free will. We appreciate that. As you can imagine, our costs have gone up. We have to pay insurance on these bells. There's like 365 instruments that go on that trailer. So our insurance costs have gone up, and you know what it costs to put a gallon of gasoline in your vehicle, and we've got a truck that pulls our trailer. So all those things have gone up as well, as you well know. So we'd appreciate if you might consider giving us a donation. But also, tonight, if you go back by that table and drop off a donation in your form, you'll also find there's some CDs back there if you might want to take something home, a little snippet of what we've done in the past. We will be having another CD coming out, I believe, this fall. That will be the next board. I'm retiring as of June the 1st. I'm heading to Texas, so the next board will be taking care of that. So thank you so much for attending this evening. If you'd like, afterwards, come on up, talk to the ringers. We always love to talk about bells. We're kind of nerdy like that. Maybe you want to see about those big 18-pound bells, see what it really weighs. It does weigh 18 pounds. Or want to ring one of those little nasty little bells. But come on up and talk to us. We always like to answer questions. So thanks again for coming this evening. Our next piece is called All Creatures of Our God and King are Lost uns erfreuen. You will find that this piece was written, the hymn was written in 1623, comes from Cologne, Germany, but the words themselves date from the 1200s, I believe, St. Francis of Assisi. So these are very old words. You'll find them in your hymnal as, like I said, All Creatures of Our God and King. It's also in 270 hymnals. So it's a very famous hymn, very famous tune, and we're happy to present that to you this evening. You're going to hear, as it says, bell peal, what we can term, what we can do to make tower bells. So you're going to hear a pealing of the bells, a continual sound. And then you're going to hear our Whitechapels and maybe another surprise. So please enjoy Bell Peal.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Matt. Okay. Our next song comes from the soundtrack from the animated movie Up. Released by Pixar in 2009, this movie is mainly about Carl Fredricksen taking an adventure. Carl is a 78-year-old balloon salesman trying to fulfill a lifelong dream. At the risk of losing his house, he ties thousands of balloons to his house in an attempt to fly it to Paradise Falls. As kids, Carl meets a girl named Ellie. Yes, there we go. Thousands of balloons. Over time, Carl and Ellie fall in love and get married, and that's where our next song comes in, called Married Life. It can be heard throughout the entire movie in various scenes. Near the start of the movie, one scene has this song as the only thing we hear, as no words are spoken. It follows the married life of Carl and Ellie. Now, I won't spoil the movie, but only the scene. I mean, it came out 15 years ago, so if you haven't seen it by now, what are you waiting for? Go see it. Well, not right now, but in a real marriage, there are times that are more happy and there are times that are more sad. In our version, the bells represent the more happier times and the chimes represent their more sad times. The scene starts with them getting married. Happy time. In no time, they buy, fix up, and paint their house. At one point, they're painting the nursery in hopes they can fill it with children. When our first of two chime sections starts, Ellie and Carl are in the doctor's office learning that, well, Ellie can't have children. She is devastated. Back at home, Carl gives her a hug, and they decide to save up for their trip to Paradise Falls. Back on our bells, they start dropping their coins in a big glass jar to save up for the trip. They're having a good time, but a couple of setbacks prevent them from saving enough money for the trip. This whole time, Ellie and Carl work at a zoo selling balloons. Ellie is shown helping adjusting Carl's tie for work, tie after tie, day after day. Suddenly, they jump from their 20s to their 70s. Amazing how fast time flies as we get older, huh? One day, Carl goes out to purchase plane tickets and wants to surprise her while on a picnic. While attempting to climb up a hill, Ellie stumbles and falls. You'll know when this happens because we'll start to play our chimes again. And remember what that means with the chimes? Ellie ends up in the hospital. Carl comes to visit with an old photo album they started as kids. Ellie smiles at Carl, brushes his face, and they hug for the last time. Our song ends with Carl in a funeral home, alone, surrounded by colorful balloons, sad, alone, and missing his wife. Our theme for this concert is the rhythm of life. The natural progression of life has a beginning and an end, much like our concert here today. It has been an absolute pleasure for our group to come in here and play some songs for you all. So thank you, each one of you, for spending your time with us tonight. And now we present our version of Married Life from Up.
Thank you again for taking this pause in the rhythm of your lives to be with us this evening, to enhance the rhythm of your life, to perhaps distract you from it, or simply experience it in a unique way. I read recently an interview, on a topic about which we hear a good deal these days, that of AI, or artificial intelligence. The interviewer asked a performance artist his thoughts about the creation of various kinds of art by AI. Part of his response was, will a machine ever know what it feels like to miss something? Or what it is like to create something beautiful out of a moment of sorrow? Creativity does not arise from calculation, but from experience, pain, love, and hope. The rhythm of life, if you will. The lyrics of the traditional spiritual Ride the Chariot present messages of deliverance from earthly struggles. It is a narrative of salvation and hope, which composer Scott McGlasson has captured beautifully in this arrangement. On behalf of the entire Three Rivers Ringers organization, thank you again for coming, and we thank our hosts and all who made this evening's performance possible. Thank you. Ride the Chariot.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you again to all of them for coming out tonight. I wanted to say that I saw so much inner joy in all of you while you played, and it's, that bringing that music out, so I feel very inspired. We have some people from our congregation here, and I'm hoping to get the bells out of our closet again, and I'm hoping they are inspired that we can get some bell pieces together. I wanted to say I was especially impressed with the triplets in the pastoral and the 16th notes and up. I said, that was what impressed me. I was like, wow. So thank you so much. Let's give them one more round of applause. Thank you so much.